Am I ready? Ah, okay. Oh, not yet?
Okay. We're going to put it on the website? Yeah.
Good. Have we started yet?
You are live.
Oh, good. Welcome to Voice from the Village. I'm Steve Pleich, and tonight we're going to be talking about the UCSC trailer park. I'm delighted to have my guests. Let me tell you a little bit about that, though. Since 1984, the trailer park has been a hub for artistic creativity, collaborative community, and social action in Santa Cruz, and an invaluable autonomous space on UCSC campus. This tradition originally started because there was no affordable housing on campus, so students began living in trailers and vehicles in protest. Since its start, it has been one of the few low-income communities on the UCSC campus. The students own their trailers and rent the space from the university, allowing for year-round housing, autonomy, and community continuity. Residents of the trailer park not only learn lessons about homeowning, but also experience what it's like to be part of a community. With potlucks twice a week, shared garden spaces, year-round stable housing, and traditions that get passed down through the generations, the trailer park is a special place that is irreplaceable to the UCSC community. And I'll add that I had my first visit up there last week, and it is a wonderfully unique place in Santa Cruz that I hope never goes away to change. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. I want to introduce to the people here my guests, Meagan White, welcome, Annarose, Leff, Karolina, Wirga, good, and Jamie Joy. Jamie, welcome.
Hi.
Jamie came at the last minute, and we got Jamie on, so it's very important. Before we really start getting into the conversation about your proposal to the university and Davis domes and things like that, we have got a small clip, a YouTube, that kind of just shows a little bit about the trailer park, and we'll play a couple minutes of that, and we'll come back and we'll start our conversation.
Great, thanks.
The camper park at the top of UC Santa Cruz is a unique university facility which offers students options rarely available in student housing. Here, students can make their place of abode in the redwoods of the Santa Cruz Mountains, only a short walk from classrooms and other campus facilities. Visitors are welcome to come by and check out all the campers, but the locals request that you make that trip a walking tour. Many people wonder as they walk the UC Santa Cruz campus and find the trailer park, how in the heck did this end up here? The park was created as a result of an extremely high housing cost during the 80s, which led many students to live out of their vehicles in the northern remote parking lot of the UC campus. Due to the numbers of students living in their vehicles, the university, after first trying to get rid of them with the UC Santa Cruz police force, granted a concession: the development of the trailer park for low-income housing. This remains part of student.
And that gives you just a little glimpse into this idyllic spot up there. It's just, I was overwhelmed when I went up there, and not only the beauty of the environment, but the beauty of the people. You know, it was really a pleasure to come up and meet everybody, and I'm glad to have you here this evening. I know you folks want to start out maybe with a general statement about your mission, and if you'd like to do that, we'd be happy to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, we're all students juggling finals, school and work, and we've been working really hard as far as research on this proposal and done a lot of working with professionals, but at the same time we are still students, and so our proposal is continually changing as we reach out to more people who have a lot of knowledge and are working to make our proposal to save this wonderful space. The most viable option that really encompasses all the many layers that are involved in leasing land from UCSC.
No question. Well, thank you for that. And before we get into the substance of the conversation, let's find out for our viewers a little bit about each one of you. Jamie, give us just a couple of sentences about yourself. Let people know who you are.
Okay, I have been living at the trailer park for 3 years. I originally came from Philly So I had never seen anything like this coming to California. I have been involved in a lot of community organizing and activism, and this is another part of it. And I'm a sexual health educator.
Excellent. And Karolina?
Um,
And we love your hat, by the way, so make sure you
Thank
get
you.
a good picture of that hat.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is going to be my second year living at the trailer park, and I'm going to be a senior this year. And the trailer park has helped me grow into someone I've become, and it's a really wonderful place that I could call home.
Great. Annarose?
I'm Annarose. I was actually the last person to move into the trailer park in
Ah.
its current state,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm majoring in community studies. A pretty great place to be learning about that in real life, along with my major. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And Meagan, I had the great pleasure to meet you when I visited, and so we have been able to speak a little bit, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate you making me feel welcome up there. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a double major in community studies and biology with a minor in education, and I'm actually a homeless student, so I've never lived in the park officially, but
wow.
the park is largely what I consider my family to all means, and it's a really special place,
Yeah.
and I love it.
So give us a little bit of the history of where you are in terms of your negotiation with the university. I know that there is a long-term development plan that they're thinking about initiating, which would essentially clear out the trailers that are there and replace them with newer units. Give us some of the background of that so we understand kind of the landscape of what's going on up there.
Yeah, I can give a little bit of background.
Please, yeah.
So there was some tension building with the fact that the trailers that were existing on the land were getting older. And it was about a couple days before finals week in June, I received an eviction notice from the university saying that I needed to remove my almost 50-year-old trailer from their campus by the end of our contract, which was June 30th. So that was roughly 3 weeks to figure out not only moving out of the trailer, but how to get the physical trailer
Right.
off of the property and where it would go. And this was right before finals week and right before my graduation. So as you can imagine, I was a little overwhelmed with that change, and I felt like it wasn't very in line with fair housing contract and policies. So we had a follow-up meeting with the administration, and we asked them for some more time so that we could figure out what to do with our trailers, that it was very abrupt, and that with graduation and finals and family coming into town, it didn't seem like
Right.
we would be able to
Sure.
be out by the end of the contract. So they came back to us with a settlement agreement, and any of you can jump in when you
Yeah,
want.
please. Yeah.
So they came back to us with a settlement agreement that said, yes, we will extend until the end of July for those of you who are graduating to move your trailers off. But in order to do so, we had to sign a document, a legal document that basically said that we would not be able to pursue any legal action against the University of California. And because our housing contract had been changed and we hadn't signed off on these changes, and we were receiving an eviction notice with such late notice, I was very skeptical about signing the document and signing away
Yeah.
my rights to pursue any lawsuits. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and you all
Yeah.
could add some more
Yeah,
to that.
please. Yeah.
So while all that was going on, we also were holding meetings to kind of figure out what our next steps would be, to try to kind of meet everyone's needs as far
Sure.
as the university and our community and what we really valued. And following all of the stuff that was happening with seniors and the eviction notice, we, 3 weeks ago, had a meeting with another meeting with admin where we gave our proposal to the administration to lease the land from the school. And move from trailers into sustainable tiny homes. So that's kind of where we're at now, where we've given our proposal. The seniors have now either moved out, signed the settlement agreements,
Right.
or in the midst of that. And the trailers that remain in the park are people who are going to graduate in the future years,
Right.
but their trailers can stay until they graduate.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Maybe,
And one of the things, go please.
maybe a little bit of background
Yeah,
information would
absolutely.
be more helpful. So generally how it works is these trailers have been at the park for a very long time. And occasionally students bring in a new trailer, but generally the trailers stay there. Students get on a waiting list if they want to kind of join the community. And generally what happens is when a student graduates, they will go down the waiting list to find a buyer of their trailer, and then sell that trailer to a student, and the next student moves in
Right.
into that trailer. And it's and in that trailer, you know, you can really feel the generations of students that
Sure,
have
of
lived
course.
there, and then have the opportunity to make your own mark on the.
Does the
community.
university administer the waiting list themselves? Is it administered through the university?
Yes,
And
then,
has that ever been a problem
Yes.
with their administration of that?
With that, with the wait list, the way it's set up right now, so the students own the trailers and rent the spot. So if you're off campus and you're owning a trailer, you can sell it to whoever you want. But because it's on campus, they have this wait list, and you once you get on the wait list, the university gives you a few names every time a trailer is supposed to be sold. But the student still has the right to choose who they sell it to, which has put them in a really interesting liability situation because you can sell, if your best friend's on the waiting list, that means that the trailer could be sold to that person or someone you don't know. And so it's this whole issue of, you know, when the dorms are housed, it's a very random selection.
Of course,
whereas
yeah.
in this trailer situation, it's very personal. You have to communicate directly student to student.
Yeah.
And so
Well, that's one of the beauties of it, you know,
It
the
is.
personal nature of what
Yeah.
you're doing and your living lifestyle is so important.
but it's become a problem to university because
Yeah.
that's a huge liability where
Yeah.
it's not randomized. It's
Right.
personal, and that's an issue
Yeah.
nowadays.
I mean, as I read the history of the trailer park and all the information that was on the online petition, and I would urge people, change.org, to sign that petition. I know that you've got nearly 1,000 signatures on that. They're
Yeah.
going to be transmitted to the university administration at some point.
Yes,
But
do it.
that change.org petition really should be looked at by folks. I put it out on Facebook and a number of places, and we're generating some interest with that. But one thing I did notice when I read through was that, number one, it did seem like it was kind of an abrupt situation that was happening, and it was not very well planned out. Secondarily, their offer of $2,500 of a settlement and 21 miles they'd move it to. I can tell you, as somebody who owns an RV, that it's not necessarily what they're going to pay for an RV, is where you're going to put it. And you know, I don't care who you are in Santa Cruz, and particularly if you're a student, and I'm just saying this as an observation that I would make, is that even if you were to accept that kind of an offer, I don't know anywhere which you could, you know, within 21 miles, you could put it that would be at all convenient to still going to school.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a very problematic situation for me, just reading the material.
yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the way the old system worked, the students, when they bought their trailer, they would make a really big down payment, maybe up to like thousands of dollars. And so when the university wanted to get the trailers off, the students that bought that trailer were relying on the old process where they would make that money back.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But
This-
then with this, they were not able to, and so they just lost a lot of money from that too, and it was really hard.
It's interesting. Well, and one thing also that I did see, and I really appreciate it, as somebody who has developed some proposals in the past and worked with nonprofits, the initial proposal that I guess, Jamie, you had read at some point as a
Yes.
proposal, was really wonderful. I think it was detailed, it was reasonable in the ways that it approached the management and what the style of living was going to be. Tell us about the Davis Domes. Now that's something that I was fascinated to read about,
Yeah.
because frankly, I'm a big tiny homes advocate. I wish that we could do more. Santa Cruz really needs to develop a lot more affordable housing. It's not just university, it's all over our community. But the Davis Dome sounded wonderful, and I wasn't familiar with it, so I wanted to know more.
Yeah,
The Davis Domes is a pretty cool situation because it makes what we're doing not this novel idea. It's been done before.
Mhm.
So the Davis Domes, was it the 70s they were built?
Yeah.
They were built in the 70s
Oh,
on
really?
UC Davis campus.
Mhm.
And it was run kind of the same way. It was like a cooperative little
Right.
community. And in 2011 was when the university realized that the domes weren't up to health and safety codes and it was
Oh.
becoming problematic and there were liability issues. So they came to the domes and they said, hey, we're going to shut this down. We're going to build something else here. And so they actually succeeded in doing a 6-month shutdown, in which time the domes gathered a bunch of community support
Right.
and gained the support of Solar Community Housing Association, which is a nonprofit in Davis. It has a few co-op houses in Davis,
Right.
and they kind of took the domes under their wing and leased the land from Davis and acted as a property manager to the domes.
Right.
And so then
Yeah.
the community came up and helped rebuild the domes and make them all the health and safety codes up to code. And they worked out this huge, really detailed plan with the university to make sure that everything was met and everything was taken into account. And it's still in effect today where Solar Community Housing Association is leasing the land, the domes function as a co-op, and the school advertises it to incoming students, and it turned out to be super beneficial to both parties.
And that, as I was reading again on your petition and website as well, the kind of the management structure, the collective structure of that, seem to be very well suited, for what you're doing. How is the university reacting to that kind of a collectivist approach to leasing the property and doing the kinds of things that they had done in terms of being able to have it sustainable as they do at Davis?
Do you want to talk about our last meeting?
Yeah, I could answer
Please,
that.
yeah.
Well, as many of you know, the University of California, especially Santa Cruz, likes to pride itself on sustainable practices. And really what this proposal that we're setting forth is in line with the goals of the university, is to have affordable access for students to a public institution, and also decrease the wear and tear on the land that we're on. So when we proposed it to them, I think this was early July, we brought the proposal and they were surprised. They didn't see it coming necessarily. And I think their first reaction was actually a positive one. They were like, this has been done before. They were
Right.
aware of the domes
Yeah.
at Davis. They knew what was going on there. And the conversation about tiny homes had already been happening within
Right.
the university because of some people in the environmental studies department. It's not something that is new. It's
Right.
something that's been done before.
And I'm certain that the university, as I find talking to institutionalized thinkers in the city, are always thinking about best practices and measurable outcomes and things like that. And so they're looking at it through that lens, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think when they look at this proposal, they see that there are some best practices
Yeah.
involved. There are measurable outcomes. Let's look again at the last part of the video, and we're going to bring on another guest we have. So we have plenty of guests tonight, people who are very knowledgeable, and this is their home, and they are wanting to tell their story to the community, and we're delighted to have them here. So let's watch the last little part of the video that we had, and we'll bring on another guest.
Student housing today.
All right, and we are welcoming a fifth member of the collective here, Maddie Corich. Welcome, Maddie.
Hi.
Tell us just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump back into the conversation.
All right. Well, I'm going to be a junior this year at UCSC and going into my second year of living at the trailer park. I'm a community studies and environmental studies major, and so my kind of field of interest is in environmental justice, which I think is quite well suited for the situation we're in now.
I should say, yeah. Well, we'd love to have environmental justice, and we'd like to have justice as well. But you know, well, I don't know if we're willing to settle for it. I know I'm not, but we can. You were saying this. The wonderful thing about the trailer park is that it is a serious subject, and there is a negotiation going on with the university, and you're all very serious people, and you need to be able to prevail in the situation. I think it's important. But you also are fun-loving and joyful enough to have, you know, the love for your trailers, and some of you have names for them, is it?
Yeah. I'll start. My trailer is called the Dreamsicle, and it's from 1969, and I love it very dearly,
Yeah.
and I'll be taking it with me
Okay.
now that
Beautiful.
I'm graduated. Yeah.
Anybody else have names? I noticed the one Meatloaf name there, but there was, and everybody giggled about that. So, yeah. So,
I live in the Cloud Palace.
oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has clouds spray painted on the outside, and it's quite long, I guess. Someone did it up all nice on the inside, so it has wood floors, so it kind of feels like a palace.
Wonderful. So, Meagan, you were saying that the negotiation going with the university and that. Give us a little bit more about that.
Oh yeah, just to continue on with what we were talking, we recently, within the last week, actually just got a letter from the university, from Sue Matthews actually, saying that they had looked into the tiny homes idea and they've decided to go with the tiny homes. However, they don't want to. They want to keep it within university control.
Right.
So no student leasing the land. In the letter we were actually given, it said that they wanted to move in trailers over the next during fall quarter, and then take out the trailers and put in tiny homes. On top of the $1.8 million sewer line they still want to put in, and they also said things about putting in various other amenities in the letter we were written.
Now, is there a position that there is some regulatory prohibition to leasing back to you the property? Is it a liability question? Is it against some university system-wide regulation? Is it simply something that's being conjured up by the university administration? What's your feeling about that?
It seems
I was
Please,
going to
anybody.
say if the UC Davis could do it and lease it from a nonprofit, I feel like we can do it too. And we have been talking to a nonprofit organization that has interest in leasing the land and helping us with this cause.
Yeah.
And I think it would decrease the liability that the university has, and it would benefit both parties, and it'd be a more sustainable and more affordable and more
Yeah.
accessible housing situation.
the main concern of the university, I think, with this particular issue is how much the trailers have degraded. It's difficult for them to uphold maintenance standards on trailers that have been in these slots for 30 years. And along with old trailers, though there's the old community, there's the student traditions that have kind of been passed down
Right.
through all the students, through the old trailers.
Sure.
So in some ways it's really sad for us to see the trailers go and move out. But we also recognize that it really is time for a change. And because of maintenance, because the trailers are old,
Right.
and the university, you know, their idea of change, it will follow the standards that they need to uphold, which is, you know, financial.
Of course.
It's
Yeah.
it's health and safety, it's liability, but that doesn't. They're not upholding the standard, which is the most important thing to us, which is upholding the community.
Of course, yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. And I was remiss at not reminding our viewers that this is a call-in show. If you have a question for any one of our campers, please call in at 425-8848, extension 6 425-8848-630. I was just thinking when you were talking about nonprofit and what they had done at Davis and kind of institutional thinking, that there is some precedent for this. A few years back, when the state park system, which is a state institution, were going broke, they invited nonprofits to come in and adopt a park and actually manage that park. So there's precedent for doing that with public institutions, with private nonprofits. And I think it's been done successfully, certainly with some of our state parks, until the Parks Department miraculously found $63 million that they didn't know they had, and so they were able to do some maintenance. But nevertheless, the idea was sound. And I think that what you're proposing to the university has a lot of merit. And I'm wondering now, how do you take that case to them in a more persuasive way? You certainly make all your decisions collectively, I'm sure, but is there some of you who do more outreach in that respect to be point people for the point persons for the campers in the university?
Yeah, you're kind of looking at.
Okay, well there you go. Then I've got the right people here.
So we have group meetings. We have potlucks twice a week, and after the potlucks we have group meetings. And there's a bunch of things happening. So we have people in charge of media outreach. Most of us are admin to our website that we're maintaining. Outreach not outreach, but people in charge of the events we're going to be hosting.
And make sure we mention, while we're here, mention that website. I know that we have it in a running graphic, but make sure that people...
UCSCTrailerpark.org.
There you go, very simple, and I looked at it myself. Wonderful, very nice. Yeah, that's a webmaster is somebody who knows what they're doing, but it's, it's so beautiful to navigate, and I was able to look. There's a wonderful video that regrettably we weren't able to download, but there's actually an MP4 on there that's a longer version of kind of a travel log of the trailer park, which is wonderful, and as well as the history of it. But people, should educate themselves about this true treasure that we have at UCSC, and how important it is not only for the campus community but for us as well. And that's part of the reason why we would love to have you down here and talk to the broader community about this.
And I think why the trailer park matters so much to the wider community is that if it is no longer there, the university will have a much easier access to building into the upper campus. And I know that is an issue that it does not just affect the college, because we have seen the burden on the entire Santa Cruz County when more students are brought in. So really, we are fighting for community, but we're also realizing that if we don't hold on to this land and this space, there's a potential that the university will continue to balloon, and it will just wear down on the residents who have lived in Santa Cruz.
And I know there was a lot of activism around preservation of the north campus. Are you folks working with that? Is that a separate group of folks, or are they kind of interspersed amongst your campers? Or
there's a lot of people within our community that are also involved with that. They're definitely... we have a lot of overlap in the two battles,
of course,
but it's not necessarily the same battle.
Right.
But there's a good number of people who reside in the park that are pretty active in that community as well.
Anybody else have anything to say about the preservation of the North Campus, which I've been a big supporter of over time when I spent some time on campus a couple of years back campaigning for a council office. I loved being up there and talking to people about how important it is to preserve that, and people in the community should understand that these are things that we can't abandon. Really, in our natural environment and our biosphere. These are the things we should be preserving, rather than, in my view, gentrifying an area that frankly doesn't need it, although the point is well taken that they're older trailers and whatnot. One question I had is that you mentioned tiny homes, and I'm a supporter of tiny homes. The ones that I'm familiar with are mobile, and they're solar powered, and they're about 300 square feet or so. Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, me and Karolina actually went down and spoke to an architect who is running some tiny home classes in San Jose City College and Cabrillo College.
All right.
And they were building a tiny home at that time, so it's on wheels. It would be solar powered.
Yeah, and it would be able to fit in the spaces that we have.
Right.
And we might be able to even fit more, because...
I should think so, yeah.
The university would want to bring in, because there's 42 spaces,
Mhm.
and so they were thinking about bringing in 42 trailers, but with our proposal, we would be able to fit more students and potentially more students inside each tiny home as well, making the rent more affordable
Right.
and more because more students are coming in, more
Of course,
students will be
yeah.
able to live there too. So it would benefit both parties as well.
Yeah. But they're not thinking about reducing the physical footprint of the camper park, or
Not with their proposal. Their proposal would be to bring in 42 university-owned trailers, one student in each
Right.
trailer. So that's only
so you'd have the same basic
Yeah.
area.
just
Right.
university-owned. But
Mhm.
like she was saying with our proposal, each tiny house that we were looking at could fit potentially 3 students very comfortably in
Yeah.
there, with 2 lofts on top and
Yeah,
one on
absolutely.
a bed on bottom.
Mhm.
And so they have, I believe, 650 students coming in this fall, but they have no idea where they're putting still.
Right.
And when we were speaking with the architect this last Wednesday, he was saying the timeline for making these homes could be done in 2 months,
Yeah.
and that would easily be
Yeah.
able to house a good amount of
Yeah.
these students that
Mhm.
they're very concerned where
Absolutely.
to put.
Yeah.
And it's also a great opportunity for some crossing between, what was that?
Interdisciplinary.
Interdisciplinary. It's a great opportunity. I've been participating in a tiny house building class at Cabrillo just to kind of get a taste of what it's all about. And at UCSC, there's a strong sustainability department, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of people I know that would be very interested in getting class credit for designing all of the systems that you need for a tiny house, designing the solar systems, the water,
Yeah.
like and yeah, so one of our ideas is to have a internship program where students can potentially participate in.
And you
the
know, it really
building.
appeals, in my view, to the creative imagination, because if you've seen the variousness of the tiny homes that they build, you know, I subscribe to a tiny home newsletter, and every other day there's like 20 or 30 different designs, and they're all just fabulous. They're fascinating, you know. And that's, you can really let your imagination soar and say, what kind of home would I like to live in if I was living in a tiny home?
Yeah.
And the cool thing would be if we lease the land and make these tiny homes, we'd allow that creativity. It's the same as you saw in the footage. There's all these
Right.
different trailers that have really evolved with the students
Yeah.
over years, and
Yeah.
we could allow for that. But some of the things that would change is you wouldn't have to put this giant down payment to live in the park. It would
Mhm.
become accessible. It would just be rent you would be paying if we had
Right.
the tiny homes. And I mean, that's a really important aspect of being a low-income community,
Yeah.
and allowing more students to live there and increasing the accessibility to a low-income community, which is vastly needed in Santa Cruz.
Well, and I can tell you,
Yeah.
as somebody who fights that battle in the city, and there is so much concern from the people who live in the city about where we're going to house people generally, and they're always very critical, and I think unfairly, of the university and the students are there. So, well, the students are coming down, they're taking up all of our rentals, and yet, you know, the university keeps saying, well, we want to generate as much rental unit housing as we can for our students, and we're willing to house a certain percentage of them on campus, but with something like this, it seems like you're reducing your available rental stock and not increasing it. Would they, even if you put tiny homes, they agree to that part of the proposal, would they still be wanting to put in the new sewer system?
Yeah, if they were the university-owned tiny homes, they would still want to put in the sewer system, and they mentioned that it would cost about $1.8 million. And what we were proposing, we have a space where there's 7 sewer hookups, and only those tiny homes would be have sewer lines, and then the rest would also have gray water, because we already have a gray water system
Okay.
going on right now.
Yeah.
And that would save $1.8 million. And
Yeah.
Well, and the gray water system makes you conserve water.
Of course.
Yeah.
You learn how to conserve water, and really the university is needing to conserve as much water as possible. The droughts.
And actually, and to their credit, when the city asked the university to conserve water during this most recent drought, and everybody was asked to conserve more and more, the university really did their part. So they are to be congratulated on that point, because they really did a good job. But do you have laundry to landscape systems up there where you can use gray water for irrigation, something like that? Because I know that's one of the things that came in to the city. That's not regulated by the state. The cities, and presumably since UCSC, the major part of it is in the city, they are free to develop their own regulations to be able to use laundry to landscape and things like that. So it's certainly available.
Yeah, one of the community members, Mason, he actually was talking to me about doing something like that, but we haven't brought it up or really talked about further. We didn't think the university.
Well, it's like anything else.
That.
It gets more complicated as people try to engineer it more. So, well, you just put a pipe here. No, you do. You run a pipe here and there. And there. But it's a wonderful idea in theory, to conserve water, to be able to reuse water for irrigation like that. That would be the way to go. So now you had the original proposal, and now there is a modified proposal of some kind that you're putting forth to the administration. That's kind of where you are now?
We're gonna meet with the administration on Wednesday, and
So this is timely for people to understand that this is happening right now.
Yes,
It's a continuing process.
Yeah, we've been meeting with the administration maybe once every 2 weeks or so, and because they just sent us that email about moving new trailers in and then tiny homes, and that it would be still university owned. We want to emphasize that we want to emphasize what our proposal is. We want to mention the nonprofit that is willing to work with us, and just really emphasize what's important and how it will benefit both parties.
Yeah. Maggie?
Well, I think the most important part in the next coming meetings will just be emphasizing how we want to cooperate. Like, we want a partnership that's strong with the university, and we want a good relationship. So I think building that is going to be one of our first steps in making this project successful.
And I certainly support that approach. For myself, as a person who lives in the city, when I first got involved with local organizing and politics, there was always this kind of what they call the town gown dilemma, where apparently the people felt that the university had their agenda and the city had their agenda, and I always kept saying, well, we should be able to partner together. It's going to be, it's going to be mutually beneficial for both of us if we partner together for, technology and economy and students and housing and things like that. So that approach, I think, has a lot of merit, and I think it really should resonate with the university to understand that you are willing to work with them and do that.
Our ultimate goal is collaborative. This can't work without collaborative, and our proposal is going to be continually changing as we get more people to fill roles and more understanding of the larger picture, and continuing to try to work with the university to really clearly outline everything that they need and want, so we can really make that happen. And so our proposal online will be updated by tomorrow, as far as some of the last conversations we had this past week.
And that's going to be on your website that people can take a look at. And again, the website.
UCSCTrailerpark.org.
I'll say that again so I don't talk over it.
UCSCTrailerpark.org.
That's great. And so, are you negotiating when you talk to the university administration? Are there just a couple of people that you can speak directly to, or are you trying to speak, through this veil of bureaucracy, which so often happens? Or?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, most of our inquiries and concerns are spoken to one person, and then he is disseminating that to administration above him. And I think what we're requesting now is to bring those people into the conversation, so that our voices aren't being filtered through this one person who works in housing, and getting the vice chancellors who oversee housing and business and all of those departments, getting to speak to them face to face is how you create those personal partnerships.
Right, of course.
So that we know each other and that we feel more comfortable working with each other. Because right now, a lot of the time, our communication is we receive like a letterhead, official University of California letter from them, and sometimes that can feel a little detached when
Of course, sure.
when I'm like living in the community and watching it being uprooted. I want some face to face.
Yeah, I mean, there is an aspect of it that is professional, that should be businesslike, but it's also personal. You know, and I think the university, in my view, should have some sensitivity for that, and perhaps they do. Is there you're out of term now, but school will be starting in September, I guess, again. Is there any engagement by the student government, the student body at all, in some kind of review process? Will they? Because I know the time is of the essence, it seems like when you're talking about. But will this negotiation be ongoing to the point where student body can be involved in some way, some review process?
We just are in conversation with the Student Union Assembly, the student government of UCSC president, and hopefully, he's interested in, you know, we're all students and we all are feeling the similar pressures of housing difficulty and tuition costs, and I think that once school gets back in session, we'll definitely be outreaching a lot to students and working with the student
And
government.
I do think it's important that your specific issue also brings awareness to the larger issues and minority enrollment and tuition increases and affordable housing and things like that. That people can think about those things as a holistic approach to what we all need to do to make some of this happen.
Yeah, giving students more agency in the process can only benefit everyone, because, you know, the university is working through these veils of bureaucracy that the people themselves have good intentions, but it's very difficult to make things happen when you're working with the UC system. And so giving students a little bit of creative freedom. I mean, at this moment, we're at an opportunity point, because, you know, we know that the trailer park has to change, and we know administration knows it definitely has to change, but the administration has not put forward an extremely solid plan. So we're sort of taking this moment to assert our student agency and put forward our creativity to come up with the better solution that we can, not only with a few minds, but the entire mind of the community as a collective.
Well, that's the beauty of the collective approach to those things.
It's been a really it's been a cool past few months in
Yeah.
some regards. Seeing how deep this community runs. We've gotten numerous old parkies coming up.
Is that right?
Like generations, some of like the first people to live in the park coming up and
No kidding.
and wanting to help in some.
Oh, my,
Yeah.
okay.
And there's this box that lives in the communal space that has it's been there since I guess the park started, but it has all these journals from every battle the park has had to try to maintain the space against the university, and there's over like 2,000 signatures from 2000 when they had a battle with the university to try to keep the space from being made into colleges, I think 11 and 12 at the time. And it's been interesting to kind of go back through that history.
And it's wonderful to have that kind of that living, continuous communal history. It's something that, as I've gotten older, I hearken back to. I'm old enough to have been in communes in the past and love that communal feeling and miss it to a certain extent. You know, the connections you make and the personal relationships you form and how enriching that is personally. You know, it's not simply a place to live, it's enriching with all the people that you know. And you're, examples of that just in my one visit. You know, I could get a sense of that and a real feeling of it. So.
And what that's meant as an academic experience is outstanding. And the trailer park has actually been known to have the highest GPA.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So, there you go.
And I
That's what I'm talking about.
I always love to share that, because there's always the stereotype that all we do in the trailer park is like party and have fun and do drugs, and really what we're really doing is creating helping each other with our academics by supporting each other. And there's never been a moment where I needed support on a project and I didn't have 10 people prepared to chip in. And that's a learning experience that UCSC was known for, was having that type of learning environment that was unique and community driven.
Seems to me that students are going to have a much richer educational experience in community than in isolation. I think what oftentimes happens is somebody comes into the university system and if they don't know anybody, they don't form any attachments, they don't really welcome people into their lives, and so they kind of move along without that kind of support. And I think that that's not only enriching, but also it can be very valuable, as you say, in the educational experience. And it's interesting to know that you have such high grade point averages, and that's just something people should understand. You're
Bunch of
saying?
smarty pants.
Yeah, I just also wanted to say that the trailer park has a huge diversity of different majors and interests, and I've learned so much from the people around me on different subjects, and it's fascinating, and like all these different perspectives has helped me grow as a person individually too,
Yeah.
and it's such an amazing learning experience, that's for sure.
Well, I can't really say enough about my first impressions of what I saw there, and it's the reason why I wanted to have you on. We have a wonderful opportunity here at Community Television to actually present to the broader community what we believe are stories and issues that really should be heard by people outside of the very discrete organizations and places that oftentimes are not. But it's even better when we have folks like yourself who are bright and young and intelligent and really want to engage with the community, because that's what we need. That's what makes us a better society as a whole. And if the trailer park fosters that in any way, that communal living fosters it in any way, then that alone justifies its continuance in some form. So what are we doing moving forward now? Where do we take it from today, and the website, which is?
UCSCTrailerpark.org.
And we're going to get the other shot of Karolina's hat, which is wonderful. Okay. But seriously, with the wonderful website you have and the proposal, and now a modified proposal, but the negotiation you're going, where does it go from here?
Well, we have a few events that we're going to host soon. It's still in the works, but in late September, right after school starts that first weekend, we're going to have, we're inviting all of the alumni of the trailer park back.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
having a community potluck, and there's going to be, we're doing a bunch of screen printing and pottery that we're going to have there to sell, as well as just like spreading awareness to that community at large. And then early October downtown, we're hoping to host an event to the community at large, kind of raising awareness again, and providing screen prints and hats and various other
Terrific. Yeah.
park stuff to tell people what's going on. And then we're going to continue meeting with various, our lawyers and the architects and everyone we've been in contact with to continue to work out our proposal with the admin.
Yeah.
Overall, we've had a lot of people coming through from Santa Cruz or who have heard about what's going on through the grapevine, and so I think moving forward we'll keep in contact with all of the little connections that we've been making, and we'll keep refining the proposal, keep the conversation with administration, and have some very fun times with the community at our events. Really want to let everybody come up and see how it is up there.
Well, it could be a wonderful thing, as you know, you may not know. I'm presuming you know, and you probably don't. One of the other hosts for Voice of the Village is Sandino Gomez, who is working with the Museum of Art and History. And he's a wonderful guy, and he's always looking for things that are community inspired, or community enriching. And, maybe that might be down the road something that you might want to talk to him about. Terrific guy, Sandino Gomez. Well, mentioning Sandino, I think he and his wife Emily are vacationing somewhere, so continue to have fun, but come on back, brother. But he is a terrific guy. But that's really a wonderful way to do outreach. You know, I'm a big believer in community organizing, community outreach, community awareness. I think that's so important on any issue. But the way in which you do it, and the way in which you kind of present yourself and the people that you are, to personalize that,
Yeah.
really goes a long way to get mainstream people in Santa Cruz to say, you know, that sounds like something I'm interested. I want to hear more about that. You know, how can I at least engage with it so to the extent that I understand what's going on? I'll withhold my decision, but I want to know. You know, and so that's really something that's important. You have had professionals, architects, and lawyers who have volunteered to help you out, and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have.
We've got a handful of. We've actually spoken to a large number of people in kind of every field. As I've said before, we're all students, so
Yeah.
none of us
Yeah.
have ever leased land,
Right.
and we've been working on this proposal for months at this point. So a lot of the beginning was
Yeah.
a hit and miss, but we have a great kind of core team going right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie, please.
Yeah, I wanted to add, because you were talking about the community getting involved, and I think the quickest thing to help us move forward would be to get more signatures on our petition.
There you go.
So
Absolutely.
we could hit that 1,000 mark and be able to deliver that to the administration either on Wednesday or
Yeah.
in the next following weeks. So that's like really the soonest way that people who are watching,
And they can just get that on change.org, and then they can surf around down there and find it's Campus Trailer Park.
UCSC Trailer Park.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
Easy to
it's
find.
on our website as
Good,
well. There's
yeah.
a bunch of links.
And as I said, I put it out on as many Facebook pages as I can. So it's out there. I wanted people just to, you know, I'm
Right.
somebody who wants to get things out in the community and let people appreciate what's going on and make their own decision about it. You know, say, you know what, I've looked at this and it's something that I'm interested in engaging with. And I think it's particularly important that what's happened here this evening is that people understand that you are students. You know, you're not just people living on campus, sitting in trailer homes up there. You're students, and students that are getting good grades, and students that are enriching their educational experience, and students that are bringing something of value to the community. And we'll continue to do that, I think, as we move forward. We've got a couple of minutes left. I want to go around and 30 seconds from each of you about what a call to action or what you want to take away from being here in front of our audience tonight. Maddie, go ahead.
I don't really understand the question, to be completely honest. I don't think I'm the best person to start this.
Okay, well, Jamie can start then.
Oh, my call to action. I would really hope that people care enough about the greater land that exists up there, and to help us preserve our community would mean to preserve these valued redwoods that are irreplaceable if they get torn down. So that's really my call to action, is to get involved with environmental justice, and this is one aspect of that.
All right. Karolina, anything?
I would just want to encourage people to even just come to the trailer park and see for themselves what a beautiful place it is.
Annarose?
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Maddie, Jamie, Karolina, Annarose, Meagan, I got all the names right? All in a row. Only took me 57 minutes to do that. Really, thank you for being here. And I want to say a particular thank you to my housemate, Joseph Geist, who introduced me to the trailer park and who urged me to go up and meet you folks, and I actually did go up there. He is a great guy, and I want to thank him for really introducing me to some wonderful people and something that I would like to help in any way that I can, and hopefully Community TV has been able to do its part tonight. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
We will
Yeah,
be
thank
talking
you
to
so
you very soon and down the road, and we wish you all the best of luck, and the University of California would do well to listen to the proposal that they're presenting, because I think it's something that community benefits all around. So thanks for watching. This has been Voices from the Village. I've been Steve Pleich. Tune in a couple weeks from now where we'll have another issue we'll be talking about in the community, and hopefully we'll be having guests who are as delightful and interesting as the ones we had tonight. So I'm Steve Pleich. Thank you for watching this edition of Voice from the Village. We'll see you next time.